It's all about the moon for you guys, reflectors. So if you have a lunar authority, this means that you have no centers defined. Everything in your chart is completely white. You are completely open. You are a reflector, less than 1% of our population. You are unique, you are rare, and you are a lunar being. Every single other of the 4 types are solar beings, but you are a lunar being, which means that you are so deeply connected to the moon and the moon cycle. So therefore, your authority, which it may say on your chart, inner authority or none, is actually a lunar authority, which means that you are using your wisdom that you take in from your open centers over the course of a full lunar cycle. Now, your authority is your decision-making superpower, and tapping into this is really what's going to align you with your path of purpose, the most aligned decisions for you. But that does not mean that for little, small, everyday decisions, you need to use your lunar cycle. For those everyday small decisions, like should I go hang out with this person today, or where do I want to go eat lunch, or do I want to buy this little knickknack for my house? I don't know why I just said knickknack. Wow, am I like 80 years old? Anyway, those decisions you just feel into. Does it feel good in your body at that moment in time to do those things? It's when we're coming to those big life decisions, like entering into a relationship or making a big investment or applying to a certain college or getting a certain degree, those bigger decisions that impact your path and your future. That's when you want to wait the full lunar cycle. So here's where this might be difficult. Our society has us believing that we need to make decisions in a quote unquote reasonable amount of time, but who defines reasonable? Maybe reasonable for you is coming to clarity over a couple of weeks, because if a big decision is going to impact your life, then don't you need time to find clarity on whether it's right or wrong for you? Here is why this is so important for you, reflectors. Since you are completely open being, you are taking in energy from 3 places every single day. You're taking in energy from the people that you're around, the environments that you're in, and the transits that are happening with the planets, where they are in the gates on your body graph. Now, we all feel this, but you feel this to the utmost degree because there's no consistent energy in your body. And you're meant to be in these environments and feel them out and experience them the way that the people around you are experiencing them. You're meant to be with people and take on their energy for the day. So if you are in an environment or near somebody and you're taking on their energy and you are presented with a big decision to make, you want to make sure that you're not making the decision from the environment's energy and that person's energy. You want to make sure that you're making the decision from you and your energy. And that's why we wait a full lunar cycle as a reflector to make that decision so that you can experience clarity. Now, why a lunar cycle? There are 64 gates on our chart. And during the lunar cycle, the moon which is your authority and the ruler of your energy type, the moon travels through all 64 gates, giving you a taste test of all of those different gifts, all of those different shadows, and all of those different energies and frequencies. And so when you are presented with a decision, you want to make sure that you are experiencing all those different flavors across the lunar cycle. So then you can come to clarity at the end of the 28 days and say, okay, how do I feel now? I've thought about this across different environments, around different people, consistently coming back to myself, clearing myself out of other people's energy and the environment's energy, experiencing the different energies of the transits and the lunar transit in particular. How do I feel about this? Does this feel right for me? Yes or no? And then here's the tricky part. If there's not clarity yet, if it's not a clear feeling of expansion and delight in this idea, or contraction and heaviness for a no, and there's not clarity yet, then you might have to wait another lunar cycle, which I know is tough. I'm about to give you a couple of tricks and tips that are going to help support you through this process so that you can start getting to know your body, your energy, and tapping into the power of the lunar cycle. So one thing I highly recommend is when you're presented with that decision, mark what phase and sign the moon is in. There are some free apps that you can use, such as Moon Calendar or Moonly, that help you track where the moon is, what sign and what phase it's in on what day. So when you're presented with that decision, mark that down, and then use a calendar as a journal for you. And as the moon is traveling throughout the zodiac, throughout the different zodiac signs, and in its different phases, and you are coming and emptying out at the end of the day and reflecting, as you do, reflector, on the experiences that you've felt that day, on the calendar, journal what those experiences were, how you felt, what clarity you gained, and use the calendar as a daily journal until you come back to that same exact phase that the moon was in when you first were presented with the decision. And then once you get to that point on the calendar where you're back in the same moon phase, that's when you can reflect on your calendar journal, and you can then feel into, does this decision feel right for me? Or do I need more time? Do I need another lunar cycle to reflect? You might notice that as you're journaling throughout the month about how you're feeling regarding this decision, that it's going to change and fluctuate every single day based on who you were around and what environments you were in. But that is natural for you. That is your gift. And it's time to see that as a good thing and honor that. Try your hardest not to rush yourself, not to judge yourself, and to really come to a place of trusting who you are and who you are meant to be in this world. Because you are unique, you are a gift. If you have a lunar authority and are a reflector, I would love to hear about your experience with this in the comments, and share any tips or tricks you have with our community and for those who may be struggling with this lunar authority. If you want to dive deeper into your design, I have some wonderful free resources for you, such as my free Back to Basics Masterclass, where we dive deep into the energy and embodiment of your type, strategy, and authority. I also have a free foundations guide where we go over in detail some practical and applicable tips for you to start living by your design and your astrological blueprint today. You can also just book a reading with me if you want everything laid out for you to really dive deep into who you are and who you are meant to be in this lifetime. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you next time.